ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां
परम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमां
मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां
आर्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्
ओम
ॐ
मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य महाणीस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् संदधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि
वदिष्यामि
तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ओम शांति शांति शांतिः आदित्यवर्णे तपसो
तमसो
वनस्पतिस्तव
उदितस्तव वृक्षोऽथ बिल्वः तस्य फलानि तपसानुदन्तु मायान्तरायाश्च बाह्या अलक्ष्मी उपैतु मां देवसखः कीर्तिश्च मणिना सह प्रादुर्भूतोऽस्मि राष्ट्रेऽस्मिन् कीर्तिमृद्धिं ददातु मे।
So we were looking at the seventh rik, Upaitumam Devasakha Kirtischa Manina Saha. So Devasakha means here Mahadeva Sakha, the friend of Mahadeva, who is nothing, who is the Kubera. Kubera is supposed to be the friend of Mahadeva or Shiva. This this is there in the Skanda Purana. So in the Skanda Purana, Kubera does tapas, and he is doing this tapas with Shiva in his mind, and then Shiva only appears to Kubera and then grants him the boon that he will be always with Lakshmi, like that. So that is why those who want Lakshmi also have to again take care of Kubera, like that. In that particular, if you see in the Skanda Purana, it is said there in different places in Skanda Purana actually. So Kubera pleased Shiva by doing tapas, and then Shiva only established Mahalakshmi with Kubera, like this. It is there in that Purana. So Kubera is now interested with all the Lakshmi. Now here we want this Kubera to come to our place along with money. This money also different meanings are given. Either like money means all this Ratna, etc., which again signify wealth. Kirtischa also is there. So the Kirti here is again a Devata. The Kirti Abhimanini Devata we have to take. The fame itself as a Devata. And along with money means Manina here can be wealth, or our Sayanacharya says Mani Bhadra. Like that, the Kubera has lot of koshas or treasuries. And there are kosha adhyakshas, those who supervise or guard these treasuries, take care of these treasuries. One of them is Mani Bhadra. So along with him, he has to come. Why should he come? Because we are born in this Pradurbhutosmi Rashtresmin. Rashtra here is generally taken as Martya Loka, means we are all born in the world of the mortals. So we want Kirti, and Riddhi means again fame and prosperity. Riddhi can be prosperity, abundance, all these things, success. So all these things you give me because I am born in this world of mortals, means essentially we are limited in our capabilities. and I am your upasaka. So give me all these things. May again, finally, what we want to get rid of this mortality itself. That is the ultimate aim of taking any human birth. And here again, I told you that this Kirti and Riddhi is not only for me, it can be also taken as for the Rashtra itself, wherever you are born, for that community, let there be fame and prosperity, abundance. So these things are very important. Our forefathers have always lived in abundance, that we can see by all the monuments they have left behind, correct? All the huge temples. You cannot create all these things if you did not have abundance. If you are still in a survival mode, can anybody create the kind of temples and monuments which we have in India? That is impossible. So our forefathers have lived in lot of abundance, and only this whatever poverty we have and all, I think is only last 200-300 years. Even before that, they were all really living in abundance. They always produced more than what they can consume, I think, so they can even distribute it or keep it even if there is some famine and all that. So anyway, so here continuing, next rik is what, the eighth one, Kshutpi Pasa Malan
Samalan Jeshtam
Alakshna
Alakshmim Nashayamyaham
Abhutima Samriddhi.
Samriddhincha Sarvan Nirnudame Gruhat.
So Kshut Pipasa Malam. So Kshut and Pipasa means what? Hunger and thirst. So hunger and thirst actually given as a upalakshana or a characteristic of samsara. So samsara means what? Samyak sarati iti samsara. We are all going round and round very nicely, traveling from one thing to another. Means in English we say a life of becoming. Life of becoming means you are not satisfied with whatever you have. You feel you are wanting something, you are lacking something, because in your own vision, you are limited in whichever way you look at yourself, whether in terms of knowledge, in terms of power, in terms of wealth, in terms of fame. Whichever way you look at yourself, you feel that there is a lack of something. Even those who have a lot of wealth, they think that they are lacking something else. So they are ready to give up their wealth to gain power, let us say. Or those who have power also, they think that they are lacking something else. Like that, it keeps on going. There is no end to it. If you just want to keep accumulating worldly things, there is no end to that. Because even after accomplishing something, you are still a lacking person only. Fundamentally, you do not change. So what is the characteristic of this life of becoming? Hunger and thirst, because hunger means, hunger, thirst both signify a certain lack or a want, correct? In fact, if you see the Upanishad, in the different Srishti Prakriya, whether it is Brihadaranyaka or Aitareya Upanishad, even in the Upanishads, when Srishti is talked about, typically we say that Prajapati created everything. And then what? Even the Devas who were created, correct? Ishvara created the Prajapati and different Devatas, but they had hunger and thirst. Means they are also Jivas only then. Whoever has hunger and thirst means they are all samsari. So even if you attain to the status of a Prajapati, who is the totality of everything, are different Devatas, who are also very exalted beings, again representing the totality of different phenomena. even then, if you are subjected to hunger and thirst, means you are still a limited being, you are having problems. So the Kshut and Pipasa and Malam also is added. Kshut and Pipasa itself can be considered as a Mala. Okay, Mala means you can say some kind of a dirt, or Klesha. Klesha means some affliction. See, as limited beings, we are afflicted by different issues, correct? Of course, hunger and thirst are one set in that. So we are also having ajnana, moha, all these things. Delusion is there, ignorance, delusion. Then even old age, death is all these things there. Jara, marana. So even kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya also we say in one context. Or even there is a list of kleshas which is given even in our, if you take Yoga Sutra, also Patanjali also gives a list of kleshas. So like this, different afflictions we are all subjected to. So all these afflictions, what do I want to do with them? Nashayamyaham. May I destroy Nashayami. With your blessings, may I destroy all these afflictions. And in fact, how can I destroy this means, again, relatively you can destroy these things by having lot of food, always, correct? Abundance of food, abundance of drink or water, etc. But ultimately to destroy this, you have to have Atma Jnanam, no other way. And also what else I want to destroy? Jeshtham, Alakshmi. So Jeshtha means one who was born earlier, okay, elder to Lakshmi or Shri is the Jeshta Devi. So if you read the Purana story of Samudra Mathanam, so from the Samudra Mathana, many things came, okay. So there is a whole list of things which came along with Lakshmi in the Samudra Mathana, and they are all called Chinna or symbols of Lakshmi. What are they? Kamadhenu came from Samudra Mathana. Kalpa Vriksha came. Okay. Then the Sudha or Amrita. Amrita only, mainly they are doing the churning of the ocean to get the Amrita. That is called Sudha also. Sudha Kalasha or Amrita Kalasha. Then Chinta Mani, the money which Vishnu is wearing and which is again like a wish fulfilling jewel. Whatever you desire, it has the capability to give Chinta Mani. Then Airavata, Indra's Airavata, Uchai Shravas, all these things also came from the Samudra Mathana. Then different Apsaras came. The Kaustubha Mani also again came. Like this, all these things came from the ocean along with Mahalakshmi also. Mahalakshmi also came. But before Mahalakshmi came, who came? Means Alakshmi, Jeshtha. In Tamil we call her Mudevi, Mutta Devi. Same thing in Sanskritam is Jeshtha Devi. Jeshtha is the elder one to Lakshmi. So before Lakshmi came, Alakshmi, Jeshtha, she came. And unless you get rid of this Alakshmi, you cannot have Lakshmi. So this sentiment is there, correct? And also many times we say, if the Lakshmi Chinnas are not there in your home, see even the symbols of Lakshmi, we are supposed to have. If you do not have, then Alakshmi will come, Mudevi will come, like this we'll say. See even things like putting this Rangavalli or Rangoli we say, correct? Rangavalli or Kolam in Tamil we say. Why do we put kolam in front of our house? Means it is a Lakshmi Chinna. It is a symbol of Lakshmi. Lakshmi Kataksha, we say. So morning and evening we clean the front portion of our home and put kolam, rangoli, rangavalli, however you call it. And different other Lakshmi Chinnas also we try to keep, like even having this every day we light the lamp. Then we have dhupa, sugandha. Even sugandha is supposed to be a chinna of Lakshmi. So if your house is smelling with all this molds and fungus and all that, it is not good, correct? It's not, then it is all Alakshmi only. Okay, so Alakshmi means, Alakshmi has her own chinhas. Lakshmi has her own symbols or signs, and we want to always keep the symbols of Lakshmi with us and destroy all Alakshmi. Okay, so Alakshmim Jeshtam Nashayami Aham. So may let me destroy this Alakshmi, who is elder to Lakshmi. In fact, she comes first. Unless you destroy her, Lakshmi will not come. And why do we do all these things? So that abhutim asamriddhincha sarvan nirnuda me grihat, from my home, from my house, home, griha. So again, this prayer is by a grihastha. So mostly the prayer for Lakshmi Shri itself is by a grihastha. Nothing wrong with that. See, there is a certain, many people feel that somehow our culture, we do not value wealth, or desiring itself is a problem. That is not really true. Understand that. As a grihastha, you have to desire for wealth. Even in the Upanishad also, even in Taittiriya Upanishad, Shikshavalli, the Shri is prayed for. Wealth is required. Okay. But why do you require wealth? To do dharma karya. Because without wealth, you cannot do any dharma. Understand that. Artha is required for both kama and dharma. And as a grihastha, you can legitimately fulfill your kama and also gain dharma in the form of punya. Correct? To gain dharma, you have to do a lot of karma. Without doing karma, you cannot gain dharma in the form of punya. And dharma alone will come with you. Correct? Whatever else you gain in this world, you have to leave it here only. You cannot take anything with you. What will come always with you is only the punya papa which you have gained. That will come along with you wherever you go, even in hereafter. And all the samskaras which you are gaining also. So Bhagavan says, if you have already become a mumukshu and you are doing shastra shravanam, and still for whatever reason, even if you do not gain moksha, you will continue that even in the next life. He gives an assurance in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Nahi kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim tata gacchati, he says. Okay, one who is a kalyanakrit means one who has done all auspicious things, means here in the context of Bhagavad Gita, it is that you are a mumukshu, you are doing shastra shravana mananam, you are a karma yogi. Such a person, even if you become yoga bhrashta, because Arjuna asked that question there. So Bhagavan gives an assurance that you will continue that. You will not have durgati, you will be born again in the family of yogis, and even there you will get connected with your previous this sukshma sharira and all that. Okay, that's how we see all this prodigies, correct? Child prodigies are there. That is all connection with Purva Janma only. Anyway, so here what we are saying is Grihastha has to gain wealth. Without wealth, you cannot do dharma. And without leading a dharmic life, you cannot also aspire for moksha. So wealth also indirectly is a cause for moksha. So that you can do all the karma with yoga buddhi. Even to do karma as a grihastha, you require wealth. So there is nothing wrong in aspiring for dharmic wealth, but it should not become a pressure. See, when does kama become a problem? Okay, when does desire become greed? Let us say. So greed is lobha in Sanskritam. Okay, so kama becomes lobha. When does it become? If you are ready to do adharma. Otherwise, Bhagavan says, I am manifest in the form of desire in you. He says, Dharma aviruddha kamosmi bharatarshabha. In the 7th chapter of Gita, Bhagavan says that I am the one who is manifest in you as the ability to desire. So the ability to desire is a great thing, correct? Only human beings can desire for many things. A cow cannot desire for what we can desire. So that Ichha Shakti is there, it is a privilege. As long as it is a privilege, it is fine. But once desire starts giving you pressure and you are under the spell of your desires, if you are ready to do adharma also, then it becomes lobha, it becomes greed. So that is where one has to be careful. Otherwise, you have to, as a grihastha, earn wealth so that you can spend it on dharma karya. So we do not want any kind of poverty. Okay, abhutim, asamriddhim. So bhuti and abhuti. Abhuti is the opposite of bhuti. Bhuti again can be taken as prosperity. Samriddhi means growth. In fact, nowadays everybody wants growth, correct? Economic growth. Every company wants to show growth every quarter in the stock exchange. Growth itself is a problem. I don't know how much something can grow. Overgrowth means you have become swollen, you can burst. But anyway, so here prosperity and abundance, okay, means we always have things abundantly. It's not like you have prosperity now and then it goes away. That prosperity also keeps on growing. That is the kind of thing I want. So I do not want abhuti, means poverty you can take. Asamriddhi means what, even whatever you have, you are losing it. That I don't want. So sarvan nirnuda me grihat. Nirnuda means niskasya. Expel it from my place. Delete it. Remove it. So may I be with prosperity and abundance always. That is the prayer here. And then next verse or next rick also is very interesting. Gandhadvarandura dharsham nityapushtankarishiniim ishvarigum sarvabhutanam tamihopahvaye shriyam. So Gandhadvaram. So Gandha means whatever you are smelling through your nose is Gandha, means Sugandha we have to take. Good smell, not bad smell. Bad smell we said, correct? Already I told you bad smell means it is Alakshmi. It is a chinha of Alakshmi. And Gandhadvara. Dwara means Lakshanam, one who is characterized by good smell, gandha, sugandha, or one who is pleased by sugandha also we can take here. Gandhadwara means. So that is why we always have some dhupa in our home, correct? Either in the morning you light the lamp and we have dhupa. Dhupa and deepa go together for us, correct? Even in the puja steps also, whether it is panchopachara, shodashopachara and all that, whether you have only 5 upacharas or 16 upacharas, in all that we have dhupa is very important, or even gandha also. We offer gandha pushpa akshataihi and all that, correct, as part of decorating our deity. We have to offer gandha, whether it can be in the form of a dhupa or it can also be directly like chandana gandha, let us say. It can be pushpa gandha. So all this gandha, again, it should not be overpowering, I think, because some people nowadays, they put so much fragrance or scent and all that, it is overpowering. You enter the room or even when they are coming some 10-20 feet away only, they advertise themselves. That is not required. I think in our culture, gandha is very important. That is why we have even all these different, in fact, if you see some of the historical records also, kings present their ministers and all, if they have done a good job, one of the presents which the kings give them is fragrance. It is even written in historical records, like Krishna Devaraya gave all these expensive fragrances to his minister. The records are there like that if you read history. So fragrance is a very important thing again in our culture, particularly things like chandana, sandal. These are all very our endemic to India, correct? And even different pushpas are there. All this gandha, that is a chinha or a symbol or a sign of Lakshmi, Gandhadwaram. Duradharsham means one who cannot be restrained easily, or one who cannot be attained by those who do not do upasana of her. Okay, only upasakas with a pure mind, they only can attain this Lakshmi. Otherwise, she is dur. Adharsham means one who cannot be won over, restrained. And Duradharsham, she is one who cannot be won over easily. Nitya Pushtam, again, Pushtihi means nourishment, you can say. So Nitya Pushtam means what? One who is always nourished or one who is always nourishing with different things like grains, because the Dhanya Lakshmi also. So when we talk about Ashta Lakshmi, Dhanya Lakshmi is very important, correct? Even if you have Dhana, you have a lot of gold, but in a famine, what will you do? If you don't have anything to eat, you are still going to have problems. There, gold you cannot eat. So, along with Dhana, Dhanya also is very, very important. So here, this Sasya Dhanyadi, like that we say, even in our daily puja, when we do in the temple, in the Sankalpa, we say this, Sasya Dhanyadi Samruddhyartham, like that we include. So always in our community, there has to be enough food and grains. There should not be any famine, any shortage of these things. Not just now, but always. Nitya Pushtam, Karishinim. So the word Karishaha has a very interesting meaning. Even I came to know of it while reading the Bhashya only. Okay. So what is this Karishaha means? Means Shushka Gomayadihi, like this. Sayanacharya gives the meaning. So Karishaha means this dried cow dung cakes are all called Karishaha, or things like that. You can say even this natural fertilizer, right? We take the gobar and put it in a pit and all that, and after some time you get nice organic fertilizer, correct? So that is Karishaha. Now Karishini means one who has this. Karishaha means by Upalakshana. What does it mean? It indicates that one with a lot of cows and horses and all these things. Okay. Again, it symbolizes wealth. For us, cattle is wealth. So the one who has 100 cows, 200 cows is a wealthy person. In fact, even in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Janaka gives 1,000 cows to Yajnavalkya. So even if there is a debate in the royal court, so whoever wins the debate will get 1,000 cows. Not only just the cows also have some golden coins are all tied to them, like that it is there. In fact, in that Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it's very interesting that Yajnavalkya, even before the debate starts, he tells his Shishya that you take away the cows because it's only going to come to us. He was so confident about that. So anyway, here cattle is the indicator of wealth. That's what this Karishini that points to that. Then Ishwarigum Sarvabhutanam. Sarvabhutanam Ishwari. All the beings, living beings, she is the over Lord. She lords over, or she is the one Ante Tishtan Yamayati, you can say. She is the one who is there in all the beings, and then she is impelling as the Antaryami. Or she is the one who is capable of restraining you and also blessing you. Okay. She has that capability, Ishwari. Or you can say the one who is the Ashraya of all the beings also, as Ishwari means the Prithvi itself, Bhudevi. She is the Bhudevi also. She is not just Sri Devi, she is also the Bhudevi. Even from Gandhadwaram, you can take that meaning. Because Gandhavati Prithvi, like that, that's how we define. When we define this Maha Bhutas, correct? Panchamaha Bhutas, they are associated with one guna, each of them. Like Akasha is associated with Shabda guna. Then wind, Vayu is associated with Sparsha guna. Like this, different Mahabhutas are associated with different gunas. And what is the guna of Prithvi? Gandha. Gandhadwara means again Gandhavati. The one who has Gandha means Prithvi, you can take. Bhudevi. There also, or here also you can take. Sarva Bhutanam Ishwari means one who is the locus of all the Bhutas, in whom all the beings take refuge. The Prithvi. And that Devi, Tam Iha Upahvaye, Iha Asmin Loke, again. In this loka, wherever I am, or in this community, wherever I am, that Sri Devi, I am again inviting Upahvaye. So we are all the time, this prayer itself is a repetitive prayer, correct? Most of the prayers are repetitive that way. In fact, once we know the first few rigs, later on, whatever is coming is all mostly repetitive. in some manner. But that is how it is. Prayers are normally repetitive, I think. Nothing wrong with that. So I invite you, such a Devi, you please come here and bless us. So that is the prayer. Continuing. Manasah kamamakutim vacha satyamashīmahi pashunam rūpamannasya mayishri shrayatam yashaha. So, manasah kamam, this is what I was telling you already. Desiring is not a problem for us. Understand that desire itself is a manifestation of the Lord, particularly when it is in keeping with dharma. So, dharma aviruddha kamaha. So, whatever desires I have in my mind, manasah kamam, ashimahi, may I gain. Labhe mahi, ashimahi means labhe mahi, may I gain. And akutim means what? Sankalpa. Whatever sankalpa I have in my buddhi, so whatever I have resolved to do, may I gain that. Again here, whatever you have resolved to do means it should be in keeping with dharma. Your resolution, whatever sankalpa you do, it has to be in keeping with dharma. Again, vachaha. So mano, vak or akuti means you can take it even as in with reference to buddhi, you can take the sankalpa, or with reference to the kaya, physical body, because any resolution means you have to act on that, correct? So whatever I act on with my physical body may gain that. Like that also we can take, because mano, vak, kaya, like that we can look at it. Manasah kamaha, vachas satyam is there. So the whatever I speak, may it be yathartha, means as it is. So speaking satyam itself is a big thing, correct? Your ability to speak the truth means your life is simple. You don't have to remember. Those who ever says lies, they have to remember what lies they told whom. Otherwise, there is going to be a problem. You have to lie under different circumstances differently, and you have to remember all that. It is a very difficult job. If you are able to say the truth means, again you have certain freedom. You should have a certain freedom within you, because all lies we say because of some pressure. You don't have the freedom internally. You don't have space. That is why you are telling, you are not, you are pressured thinking, what will others think if I say the truth? So you are worried about getting validation from others. Pressures like that are the ones which make you tell even harmless lies. But why do you say that? Because you have a certain pressure to show yourself as something which you are not really. But if you are able to say the truth always about yourself, about others, again, when you are saying the truth about others, you should also satyam vada, priyam vada, hitam vada also is always there. So we should keep that in mind. If you are not able to tell the truth in a pleasing manner, it is better you don't say. You don't have to tell lies, but you can keep quiet. You don't have to hurt somebody. But sometimes we may have to tell the truth and hurt somebody out of our own love for that person, so that they can actually change their behavior or course or something to help them. But that is a call you have to take in each and every situation. But in general, whatever we say should be the truth. If we have that ability, it's a great thing for us. Then that means you are free internally. But it doesn't mean that every time you have to say the truth, even if the other person is not ready to listen to the truth, you can keep quiet. That is better. Correct. Satyam vada, priyam vada, hitam vada. Whatever you say also should create something good, some hita for others. So all the three we have to keep in mind. Otherwise, keep quiet. That is better. You don't have to tell any lies. But whatever you say, let it be the truth, yatartha. So may I gain that ability to say the truth. My vak indriya should always say the truth. My mind, whatever desires are there, may I gain that. And whatever resolution I take, may I fulfill it with my physical body. Like this, very beautiful prayer, correct? Manasa kama makutim vacha satyamashi mahi. And further ashimahi, may I gain, continues here also, Pashunam Rupam. So Rupam here means, what is the form of the cows or animals means Kshiradi here, that is the meaning. See, you can have a lot of cows, but what if they do not really give you any milk or even some other thing which is useful to you? Pitodakaha, Jagdhatrinaha, Dugdadohaha, Nirindriyaha, like that. Even if you take Kathopanishad in the beginning, the Vajashravas was doing Vishwajit Yajna. So in that he is supposed to donate everything, all his wealth to different people. But he was having all these cows which are all useless cows. Pitodaka means they have already drunk their water. They are not even able to drink water anymore properly. Jagdhatrinaha means they have already eaten the grass. Now they are not even able to eat much. They are not able to drink water much. Dugdha doha means all their milk has already been over. Okay, they cannot reproduce and produce milk. Such cows, if you donate, what will happen? That is not very good. That's how Nachiketas thinks. Okay, like that, having such cows is not very useful, correct? Whatever cows you have, they have to give you all this milk, and from that again, different types of milk products. That is useful to you. So, Pashunam Rupam Ashimahi, Annasya Rupam Ashimahi. So, Annasya Rupam means what again? It's interesting. See, Chaturvidham, we call this Anna, food itself, four types. In fact, even in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Prana Panasamayuktaha Pachamyannam Chaturvidham Annam Chaturvidham Pachami Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. So I am sitting there in your stomach as the Vaishvanara Agni, who is the one who is actually digesting all the food, correct? So in reality, even the digestive power is not really our power. Understand that. It is Bhagavan who is actually digesting the food you are eating. That's why we do Prana Agnihotram also. Whenever we eat, we do the Parisheshana, we say. And then we offer Pranaya Swaha, Panaya Swaha and all that. Like we do, when you do the puja also, you are offering Naivedya, correct? Like that here, while eating also, we offer it to the Agni who is sitting within your stomach, Vaishwanara Agni, who is none other than Bhagavan only. So that is why even eating itself is like a yajna for us. Whatever you do, everything is a yajna for us. That's why we do everything prayerfully. For what? Right from the time you get up, you can live your whole life prayerfully. Because when you get up, you can say, Karagre. You can, many times we look at our hands like this, correct? That is our culture. We say, Karagre vasate Lakshmihi, Karamadhye Saraswati, Karamule tu Govindaha, or Karamule Sthita Gauri also is there. There is another version. Prabhate Karadarshanam. Then Samudra Vasane Devi, Parvatastana Mandale, Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam, Padasparsham Kshamaswame. So when you get up and plant your feet on the earth, also we are prayerfully doing that. Then you take, if you want to brush your teeth, there also there is a prayer is there. Ayur balam yasho varchaha praja pashu vasuni cha brahma prajnancha medhancha tvanno dehi vanaspate. To the vanaspati we are praying. And even while brushing the teeth, what all you are asking? Ayuhu, balam, yashaha, varchas, prajaha, pashu. Like this. That is the prayer for brushing your teeth. Brushing means in those days there was no brush, I think. You only, with your hands, we clean our teeth. While cleaning the mouth and teeth also, and your gums, this is the prayer. And you want to take bath. There also we have prayer. But if you want, if you are a Vaidika, there is Aghamarshana Sutra and Sukta and all is there. You can even chant. Or very orthodox Brahmanas, they do Sankalpa. Before Snanam, there is a Sankalpa you can do and then chant and take bath. Or simple, we can say that we can have this bhavana that whatever water you are using, it may be a bucket water, but in that bucket water, let Ganga, Yamuna, all the Punya Nadhi, let them manifest. Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. Then even while wearing your all this Tripundram, also the prayers are there. Vastradharanam also prayers are there. Before eating, prayers are there. Before going to sleep again, you can say Kayena Vacha Manasendriya Irva and all that. And other prayers also. So depending on your sampradaya, your kula, for all these things, prayers are there. Whatever you do, we do it prayerfully, because all the roles you play during the day, the basic role is of a devotee. Devotee only is donning the different roles. If the devotee who is always connected to Lord, the devotee role can never go away. All other roles come and go, but you are always a devotee, because always you are connected to the Lord as a devotee. And if the devotee is playing all the daily roles, your life will be simple. In fact, it will be peaceful. You can also accept then everything as a prasada from the Lord. That is the yoga buddhi, in fact, karma yoga buddhi. So to lead a life of karma yoga also, all the things which we do, we have to do it prayerfully, and then have a certain equanimity in terms of accepting whatever we gain. That equanimity is yoga, really. So Bhagavan is the one who is there even as our Vaishwanara Agni. In fact, we started there. Annasya Rupam Ashimahi. So again, Annasya Rupam means Chaturvidham Annam, I said. What are those 4 types of Anna? Means Bhakshyam, Bhojyam, Lehyam, Choshyam, like this. 4 types of Anna are there. So Bhakshya means what you chew and eat, masticate and eat. Like roti, naan. Naan is the worst, I think. Whenever I have even half a naan, that's it. My mouth is totally exercised. Whether I have, by the time I chew that naan, half a naan, all my appetite also is gone. Because you are only focusing on chewing it. Then Bhojyam means what you drink. Then Lehyam means what you lick and eat. Okay, like even chutney or pickle and all you have to lick, I think. Then Choshyam means what you suck. Certain things you have to, like in a straw, you have to suck and eat, correct? Or a mango. There are certain mangoes which we just make a small hole. Then you can suck it the whole juice directly from the mango. There is a mango called rasam. So when we were in Chennai, we were all great mango lovers. So we used to go and get during mango season different mangoes. We used to go to some this orchards also around Chennai. We used to have on the way to Tirupati. You can go and pluck the mangoes from the tree yourself and then come out and weigh it and pay it, and used to do like that. But there are certain mango varieties where you just after it is ripe, you do like this so that it becomes juice within there. Then you just make a small hole and you can suck it. It's very tasty, in fact. So choshyam. So like this, four types of food. Whenever you eat, also all types are there. Even in our regular eating, let us say we have rice, sambar, different varieties of vegetables, or we have roti, dal. All Indian food, all these four types of food are there. Where you have, then we have all this buttermilk, lassi, and all you have to drink, correct? And then you have to lick and suck also. All these things, all types of food, four types of food. May all these things may I gain. Okay, annasya rupam, mai shrihi shrayatam yashaha. So ashrayatam, in me let all these things be there. Hey Shri, Shri Devi and Yashaha, Kirti, fame, both these things may it be established in me. May I become the one in whom all these things are there. Okay, both prosperity and fame again. So Shri and Yashas are repeatedly prayed for here. So again, Yashas means what is this fame we are talking about? Why are we so stuck on this fame? Means, see, even when you have wealth, let us say, we should be able to help others, do dharma karya with the help, with the wealth. Because of that, you have certain fame, correct? Unless you are famous or you are known, people will not come and take help from you also. They cannot take help. See, there are some wealthy people who are afraid to even show their wealth. There is another problem. There are stingy people are there. They hoard everything. Nobody even knows that that person is wealthy. If you look at him, you won't know. See, being simple is one thing. I'm not saying you have to flaunt or you have to have all kinds of golden ornaments like you are a walking jewelry shop. It's not like that. You don't have to flaunt wealth. You can have a simple life even as a wealthy person, but you are known as a wealthy person who is ready to help others. That is the kind of fame we are talking about here, this yashas. Then there are some people who are afraid to show off their wealth or even make people know that they are wealthy because they don't want anybody to come and ask them for any help. That is unfortunate, I think. You are really wealthy, correct? When are you really wealthy? When you are able to give, when you are free, that you are not constrained thinking that, oh, if I give this, I'm going to lose something, I will not have enough for me. Those who have such a thought means they are still poor only. Who is really wealthy? The person who does not think that I am not having enough. Even after you give something, you are always secure. You feel that I have enough. I can share whatever else. Such people have to grow. In fact, that should be our prayer also. Only those people who share. So those who grow should share, and those who share should grow. That should be our prayer. Even for wealthy people, our prayer should be like that. So that is the yashas here. So don't think that yashas means again something. Why this yashas is being talked about so much? Kirti, yashas, all these things. It is required. as a wealthy person, you should be known that you are a wealthy person and you are doing all this dharma karya. That is the kind of fame I want. So we'll continue this next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.